Hey everybody, Tony D. And today, my God, so much 2020, so much. Our cup runneth over here on YouTube because there's just so much to talk about today. But let's start with the big one. Joe Biden denies meeting his son's Ukrainian business partner despite thank you for the opportunity to meet your father email found on laptop. Giuliani, Rudy Giuliani, that is, claims he has 40,000 emails and more compromising Hunter sex and drugs photos. This is real. Um, where did Rudy get all this juicy information? Well, somebody, apparently, according to the various articles, and everybody's talking about this, um, somebody took a laptop in to be repaired. It had been waterlogged, I guess, during one of these drug fueled insane weekends of hunters, I'm guessing. No one's quite sure who originally owned the laptop. I'm guessing probably one of the prostitutes that Hunter hired. Just a guess. Um, but the person never picked it up. So the store owner, who had, I guess, already repaired it, started like clicking around, seeing what's going on, and voila, finds all this intel. Now, is that ethical? Sure. Because if you bring your laptop to be repaired somewhere and they repair it, and you owe money, and they make a good faith effort to call you and contact you, and no one answers the phone, no one ever gets back to you, and like 3 or 4 months go by, or however long went by, then you go, well, this is my laptop. I guess I got to recoup my money here and my time by selling it. And you don't want to sell it with a bunch of personal information on it, so you check it out. And plus, you check out the laptop to see if you can find any information to contact the people who own the laptop. Well, he goes through it and he finds these photos of Hunter Biden. And I got to show you these. They're freaking amazing. All right, so here's Hunter and his dad, Joe Biden. Here's one of the emails, one of the incriminating emails. This is from one of the Ukrainian guys who Hunter introduced to his dad. Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to DC and giving me an opportunity to meet your father and spend some time together. It's really an honor and pleasure. We spoke yesterday evening. Would be great to meet today for a quick coffee. What do you think? I could come by your office somewhere around noon or so before or on my way to the airport. Best wishes, V. And that's Vadim Polanathin. Here's Hunter. Now he's got a cigarette in his mouth. And apparently the laptop also contains sexually explicit pictures of him. I assume having sex with prostitutes. There he is again. Here he is trying to look cool, I guess. But here he is with a crack pipe. That totally looks like a crack pipe or a meth pipe. I mean, I guess it could be meth. I heard back in the day when I guess it was Ted Haggard. He turned out to be gay, or was having gay sex with gay prostitutes and smoking meth, and that's like apparently something that people do. They have gay sex on meth. So maybe he's having gay sex on meth. I don't know. They seem to have determined it's a crack pipe, though. But that either way, it's bad. That's really, really bad. Because you don't just smoke crack once. Like, crack or meth. It's not a casual thing. Oh yeah, I had crack today, but not for me. No, that doesn't. that doesn't really happen. And I don't know why you would take this picture. This is why I think it's one of the prostitutes he hired, because if it was Hunter's laptop, he has the money to go get it. He would just destroy the old laptop and get a new one. He's got millions of dollars. Now, he might be cheap enough to go take it to a store, and maybe he was so high he forgot where he took it, and maybe that's why he abandoned the computer. But I gotta think it's more likely the prostitute took the computer to be fixed and either died or never had got the money together. Some prostitutes, they have it pretty bad, especially where it's illegal. Um, who knows what happened to her? So it could be that her pimp won't let her go back to get it. So, I mean, obviously, Hunter didn't take this picture. So somebody involved with Hunter, I think, probably took this picture. Very incriminating picture. And that's another thing prostitutes will do. They could take incriminating pictures of you and then use it to blackmail you later or threaten you if you get out of hand. This is Burisma advisor Vadim. I can't say that name. So this is Hunter using his connection with his dad to get the Ukrainians to his dad. Not a great move, and also flies in the face of what Joe Biden said, which, I don't know what my son does. I just met everybody around him and knew he worked, and I was just the guy in charge of the U.S. response to the Ukraine, and my son was working in the Ukraine, but I didn't know that. Come on. There's Rudy. So, I mean, you don't mess with Trump and Rudy, man. They are a powerful force together for man, they dug deep to get this. There's Trump going, yeah, get him. Let's arrest him. Rudy again. I don't know why there's so many pictures of them. This is Ron Johnson. He's apparently going to start looking into the whole deal. Doesn't look good. I don't think your dad's going to bail you out of this one, Hunter. I really don't. And this, I assume, is one of the October surprises. But this is 2020, so I guess we'll have 100 October surprises. Man, Hunter is 50? Dude, you shouldn't be doing cocaine at 50. Holy crap. I couldn't do cocaine. No way. I'm a little overweight, and, that's not my thing. My thing is iced tea. So, yeah, obviously you shouldn't be doing this. This is a very complicated scandal. But to boil it down, as I often do, with my limited understanding, see, the big deal is this. And you can Google this if you haven't seen this video. It's an amazing video. I may have even showed it in a video before, but Biden's in front of, I don't know, some World Council meeting, whatever the hell they called it. And at this point, Biden's out. Like, I think he's done being vice president, and it didn't look like he was going to run for president. So he's sitting there telling war stories about his time in public service. So he tells his best story, right? And his best story is he goes to Ukraine, tells the Ukrainian president, you want that $1 billion in aid? Well, you better fire this prosecutor. It just so happens that prosecutor was investigating his son and the board of Burisma. And the Ukrainian president say, well, you can't do that. You're just the vice president. And then Biden was like, well, you got 6 hours. And if I leave here, you're not getting that money. And then he laughs. Oh, wouldn't you know it? He got fired. That's obviously Biden protecting his son. Come on. What else could it be? You're asking us to believe that Biden, the vice president of the United States, in charge of the Ukraine response at that time, doesn't know that his own son works in the Ukraine for Burisma, an important player in the Ukraine, one of the most important players in the Ukraine. See, that's what the general public doesn't realize. The energy company in the Ukraine, the Ukraine at that time and still kind of now, it's falling apart, right? What's the first thing you're going to hook up? What's the first thing you're going to hook up after your war-torn country tries to pull it all together? Are you going to hook up, the water? Yeah, okay. So maybe hook up the water. But what's the next thing? The electricity. Without the electricity, people are going to be lighting candles everywhere like it's the 1890s. And in fact, you probably want to do the electricity first just so people can have a hot water heater. They really need both. Just so they could charge their cell phones and communicate. So they're not stumbling around in the dark. Hospitals need electricity and water. I mean, water to some extent, you could get it out of a creek. Can't get electricity out of a creek. Burisma was providing energy and heat in a very cold country. So it was critically important. And I'll say this again, this is my theory. I don't have any proof of it. But Hunter was in the Navy. And he apparently washed out and then ended up doing all this stuff, working with China, working with the Ukraine. I think there's one other country too. These were all hot spots during the Obama administration and even now. The Obama administration was trying to outflank the Russians on energy. The Russians were looking to build a gas pipeline right to the European Union. I don't think the Obama administration wanted that to happen because that would strengthen Russia. And there were still too many Cold Warriors in the administration in Washington, D.C. at that time, even then. So they wanted to hobble Russia just a little bit because if they'd gotten that gas pipeline, it would have been billions and billions and billions of dollars pumped into the Russian economy. And you would be bypassing the resources in the United States because we were fracking and still are fracking. We're producing oil left and right, and we're producing energy. So by hobbling the Russians, where are the Europeans going to go? Well, they can go to the Saudis, which we're probably okay with because we need to keep propping up the Saudis for some reason, and to us. So Hunter, being at that crucial juncture and his connection with his father, maybe all this crazy nonsense is just a ruse. It's just a cover. Maybe Hunter Biden isn't an F-up. My theory is that Hunter actually is working through the covertly to keep Burisma where it is, and it's a perfect cover for him because when regular spies who are pretending to be normal quote unquote people, right, they have to be knowledgeable about things, right? So if you're going to infiltrate Burisma, you'd have to be knowledgeable about the energy company. And if you screw that up, they're going to be like, what's the deal with this guy? You have to have a fake story and background that could be verified. And the Ukrainians aren't total schlubs. They may check you out, especially if they suspect some hanky-panky via the U.S. government. But see, Hunter didn't need any of that. His cover could be he's the idiot son of the vice president. So no matter how many times he effed up, he could come right back. They wouldn't question it. Why would they? Why is he there? Oh, he's the vice president's son. Oh. It's the perfect cover. Now, why would all this come out at this time? Well, part of the problem is they're investigating this. And if it does come out that it was an operation to screw over the Russians via Burisma, the CIA doesn't want to let that out. So they let out some more juicy scandal about Hunter. They contact Hunter and say, Hunter, we need to make a bunch of really embarrassing stuff about you. And Hunter, like being the covert op he is, He agrees to that because no one's ever going to know about his true service. Maybe 20, 40 years from now they might find out, but not now. If he was a covert op. Now, the other theory could be, yes, he is an F up. He's such a colossal F up that he's not the co-op, he's not the covert op, but the guys around him. Like he's got an assistant that nobody watches who does all the real work. He's watching everything and doing that stuff while trying to keep Hunter from getting venereal diseases from every hooker from here to Kiev. And Hunter basically provides the same shield, right? Everything connects back to him, no matter what happens. If something gets effed up, it gets blamed on Hunter. Hunter's high and banging anything in a skirt. He's not even paying attention. And as his assistant, you could frame him for anything. Half the time, he's not even going to remember. So, again, it could be the perfect cover. It could be the perfect shield. Or it could be that Hunter Biden is just a rich kid maniac. And his father never got him in check, but kept dumping all these incredible opportunities on him, which Hunter just exploited like he was some kid on the street rather than the son of the vice president. And quite frankly, over the years, I've learned so many horrible things about Joe Biden. I'm embarrassed to say that I thought he'd be a good president back in the 80s. Maybe Joe Biden is that horrible of a dad. Maybe all the Bidens are scumbags. I mean, Joe doesn't seem to be very up and up, and Hunter certainly is not. So maybe these guys are both just scumbags. Maybe it's a whole family of scumbags that we've gotten into power here. And finally, their excesses are so much, it's finally come out. And Trump and Giuliani are just like, whoa, well, let's take advantage of this. Whereas, regular quote-unquote Republicans wouldn't expose this. What they would do is they would use it to keep Biden in check, right? They'd subtly threaten him with it if he didn't vote a certain way or use his connections a certain way. But everybody in Washington being compromised, I'm sure Biden had a big file on the people who would go after him. So ultimately, it would be like a mutual deterrent thing. Trump doesn't have any of that. See, that's the one thing Trump doesn't have. There's no more secrets about Trump. What are you going to say about the guy? People openly call him a scumbag. Women hate his guts because of the grab the you-know-what comment. And he's cheated on his wives. He's been married 3 times. What else are you going to say about the guy now? He's never taken drugs. He doesn't drink. He enjoys McDonald's hamburgers. The thing is, Trump's able to laugh at himself. And was always kind of rich anyway. So that kind of stuff just rolled off his back. People like the Bidens weren't always rich. And that's the corrupting influence of money, I think. They struggled and got super rich. But their lives are consumed by getting that money. And they get it, and they kind of can't stop their behavior because they're so conditioned to act that way. And I think that's true with a lot of people for a lot of different things. But this scandal, I mean, this is bad. I mean, Hunter clearly, first off, in relation to the election, Joe Biden clearly lied. But I think by now we all know Biden's a pretty big liar. But that he lied about this in particular. This entire Ukraine thing is exactly what they accused Trump of doing. Blackmailing the Ukrainian president. And the fact that everybody on the left side of the aisle just sits there with their arms folded going, so, shows what incredible hypocrites they are. Trump is showing their hypocrisy, even if, this stuff doesn't get out as much as it can. Twitter and Facebook are censoring this story, by the way. I don't know if YouTube will censor this video. So Google this yourself. One of the original stories is in the New York Post, and they had a big expose on it. I mean, as they say, you can't make this stuff up. Well, I can. Most people can. The discovering the files on the repaired computer. That's just awesome. But totally realistic, So if this is a made up thing, my compliments to the CIA guys who cooked this up. You guys are geniuses. If it's real, and it probably is, the Bidens really shouldn't be in power. They kind of don't know how to deal with it, I think. And that's a real danger with people who earn their power, earn their money. They actually, spend their entire lives trying to earn and get it, and then they get there and they kind of don't know what to do with themselves. Because again, they've been so conditioned to accumulate, but they then have blinders on when they actually have the power and money. They don't really do anything except accumulate more power and money. I think Dick Cheney is an example of that. He kind of rose to the top, and he still couldn't stop making money. It's like, dude, how much money do you need to make? How many hundreds of millions of dollars can you leave your children? Do something with it. And he kind of just keeps making money. So, and again, that's another difference with Trump. Trump has a vision. He wants to build things. He wants to do things. Both Bidens just seem to want to accumulate more money and power. And now that they're, operating at these high echelons, it's like, well, what are you going to do now? Joe Biden's reaching the end of the road. I mean, it's kind of pointless, right? I mean, how many more years does the poor guy have left? He could, and same thing with like Hillary. Like they got no vision for the future. Hillary too just seems to be a savvy operator, wants to accumulate more power and money. And then we'll get more, and then we'll get more, and then we'll get more. Well, usually there's, and then we'll do X, Y, and Z. That never seems to come with these people. With Trump, he's doing stuff with his money. He's wasting a lot of money just being president. And so I just find it very fascinating. So there's a lot to digest here. Google it, or use whatever search. You don't have to use Google, by the way. There's Yippee. There's Yahoo still is around. There's Dogpile. There's other search engines. You might want to consider checking some of those other search engines out for stuff like this, because they're really trying to suppress it. So do your due diligence, voter. Read about the Hunter Biden scandal today. There's a lot to read, and the pictures are hilarious.